Welcome to the installation video for Custom Vantage Office, or CVO. The first thing we're going to have to do is download the installer. You can do so by using your web browser. And in your web browser, you can go to help.cwebtechnologies.com. Once you do that, click on our knowledge base. And from there, you can do a search for installer, or you could do a search for CVO. In either case, what you're going to find is Custom Vantage Office download link. So we click on there, and this shows us that if you're a new user, you need the full installer. If you're a current user, you can just use the update installer. So since we are a new user, we're going to click on that, and you'll notice that there are a few files here. The cvo.exe, that's an installer that you would use if you had Windows 7. If you have Windows 10, and I hope you do, you're going to want to download this ISO file. You'll simply click on it and save it. Now, it's going to save to your default downloads folder, which for most of us is going to be the downloads folder. Now that my download is complete, I'm simply going to go to my downloads folder, and you'll see that the ISO is here. Now, the ISO can be used to burn a DVD. If you're in Windows 7 or 8, you'll need some special application that you'll have to download to do that. In Windows 10, it's built in, but even better than that, if you simply right-click the ISO, you can choose to mount the drive. Mount the drive means stick the DVD into the DVD drive, virtually speaking. So now we've got the DVD drive and we see the DVD, and we simply click on auto run, or double click I should say, on auto run. Answer yes, we want to allow this to happen. And now we've got the installation. I'm going to close these windows just to make it a little less cluttered. So once we have this open, what we need to do is first install the prerequisites. So the very first computer that you install is going to be the server. So we definitely recommend actually installing on a server. In other words, Windows Server operating system, not a Windows PC operating system. But you can use a PC operating system, particularly if you're going to be the only one using it. You're doing a single install. Now, on the first install, whether it's on the server or it's on your PC, you must click on the prerequisites, and you must install both of these prerequisites. So the first thing we'll do is install the C++ redistributable, and you need to know whether you're running the 32-bit or 64-bit version of Windows. If you're not sure, you can click on the little Windows Start button there and then type System. If you're not sure where to go, you can also go to Control Panel, and maybe I should show it to you that way. But you go to Control Panel, and then in Control Panel, you come down here and you'll see System. If when you go to Control Panel, it looks like this, all you need to do is hit this little arrow and choose all Control Panel items, or you can hit this drop down where it reads Category and choose to go to small or large icons. I prefer small icons. I see more. In any case, once you've done that, click on System, and this will tell you what you're running. So here we're running Windows Pro, and you can see here it's a 64-bit operating system. Now I have the information I need. So now I come back here and I'm going to install the 64-bit redistributable. Simply click on the button and agree to the license. This is a Microsoft application you're installing. Simply click Install, and it does it very quickly. Done. Close that window. Next, we're going to hit the back button, and we're going to install SQL Express. Now, if you have a full version of Microsoft SQL Server to run on your Windows server, then that's superior. But you can use this Express version. And again, we know now that we're on a 64-bit, so we're going to click on the 64-bit. Now, this is an important piece here. It's going to tell you what the default SA password will be set to, and it's going to tell you what the name of the database server will be. It's going to be your machine name, so whatever your machine name is with a \CVO. The machine name, if you've never changed it, is going to be a weird bunch of letters and numbers. And again, we could have seen that under System. So we'll click to install the 64-bit SQL Server Express. Now this will take a few moments because it's going to do a full install, and there are a couple little components that it's going to require from Microsoft. And so it's going to go out to Microsoft and grab those little components, and it's going to do the installation. It's going to pre-configure everything about the installation of SQL Server Express, so you don't have to worry about any of the particular settings. We've taken care of that for you in the installer. Now, as you can see, it's extracting the files, and after it extracts the files, it's going to install the files. And this, as I said, is going to take a few minutes, as long as about 15 minutes, depending upon your computer. So I'm going to pause here, and we'll come back as soon as it's done. The installation process for SQL Server is still going, and as you can see, it's taking a little bit of time, but this is the type of screen you will eventually see. It takes a while before it comes up. Just be patient, and then the installation itself takes a while. Okay, now that it's completed, go to the back button and back button, and now that SQL Server has completed, we are ready to install Custom Vantage Office. So now we click on Custom Vantage Office. Again, this gives you information. You can click on our knowledge base, which is the one that I showed you on the web, and click here to install Custom Vantage Office. Once you click, it's going to spawn the installation for Custom Vantage Office. And here we go. We simply step through. Accept the license agreement. Click Next. You can accept all of the defaults here. You don't have to change it. This is the only place where you have to pay attention, because this is our first install. This is for the server. I must click Client and Server. For all other installations that will talk to this server, we will install Client only. In this case, because this is the server, I'm going to install Client and Server. Click Next. It's going to look for the server. Now, depending upon your Windows configuration, it may or may not actually find the server. It's going to give you a list of what it did find. So what we're going to do is go back to System. So we could go back to Control Panel, and then go to System. Look at the computer name. Now remember, in yours it may be a random string of letters and numbers. In this case, it's clean-build. And remember, we saw that the name of the database was going to be the machine name /CVO. So now we'll come back to the CVO installer, and we'll type clean-build /CVO. Now, you may need to go to SQL Server authentication, but if you're logged on to the same server, you can use Windows authentication. If you click on server authentication, remember it's that user SA. We saw that in the installer. And the password was PASSW0RD#1 with a capital P, capital W. It should say that it's successfully connected, which it did. Click OK. And then click Next. Then just sit back and let the CVO installer finish. It'll take a few moments. It's going to actually install the software. It's going to generate the sample database, and it's going to connect the databases so that you can now create your own company. You don't have to use the sample company, but it's a nice place to play around and experiment. You can also create a new company, which is what I recommend, and I will show you as soon as this installation is finished. So we can see here that it's actually setting up the actual database files. Creating the CorelDRAW interops, which is how CVO talks to CorelDRAW. Again, this will just continue and go along telling you what it's doing until it has completed. Okay, now it's attaching the databases. Okay, as it's finished, it pops up and it lets you know The default username to log into the sample database is admin, and the default password is admin2011 with a capital A. And with the checkbox checked, when we click finish, it's going to launch CVO. So we'll close this and we can now go back. There are some add-ons here. These add-ons, a zip code database and the ShipRush installer. ShipRush needs to be installed if we are going to ship through Custom Vantage Office. The zip codes, both for Canada and the United States, there are 800,000 some odd Canadian postal codes and 80 some odd thousand US zip codes in this file that you can use. Installing ShipRush, UPS, FedEx, and Post Office versions. This will allow you to ship your packages through Custom Vantage Office, and I definitely recommend that. We'll visit again with another installation video on setting up these items. In either case, once we're done, we can exit the installer by simply clicking on the exit button. Now, this is going to pop open in a browser. It's just going to take you to our website so that you can see the what's new in Custom Vantage Office. On the what's new, every time we release an update, this gets updated, so it'll tell you what features have been added, what bugs have been fixed, etc. So it's a good place to check. Now, here we're asking for a license key. So if this was a fresh install for you, it would say 45 of 45 days remaining, so that you could run it 45 days as a test, and it's the full version, the professional edition. Before I put in my license key, I'm just going to hit cancel here, which will make us exit. I'll click continue, and it's going to ask me if I want to run any updates that might be available. So as I close CVO, I'm going to say yes, I want to install any updates. Yes, there is an update. If not, it would have told me that I was up to date. So it'll take just a moment. It's going to go online. It's going to use your internet connection, download the latest update, and it will automatically install. As you can see, it only takes a moment. Preparing to do the update. The update is progressing and is done. Okay, so I'm going to click on the close button, and that's going to relaunch CVO. You'll notice there is a desktop icon here as well. So I've put in my license for the professional edition, so now I'm good to go. Once again, because I did an update, it's going to pop this window to bring me to the website with the what's new, so that I can know what was updated in this particular update. Perfect, there it is. And so now I'm in CVO. Okay, the very first time you run it, you won't have to do this all the time. The very first time you run it, it's going to ask you what database it's going to connect to. Now, you'll have to do this on every workstation, but you'll put in the name of the database server. So in my case, it was clean-build /CVO. And then, because I'm on the same computer, I can use Windows authentication and click on connect to server. If I was on a different machine, I would have to click SQL Server Authentication, put in the SA and that password. So now, as you can see, I have a sample company here. So I'm going to open up my sample company, and I'm going to log in. Remember, it showed us it's admin and admin 2011 with a capital A. And now that I'm in, I have successfully installed and configured Custom Vantage Office. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us or check out our other YouTube videos on how to use Custom Vantage Office. Thank you again for choosing Custom Vantage Office.